Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Conversations. I'm Caster MJ with Caster's Corner. Along with me, I have my two co-hosts as usual, Deadly.
Hello.
And the One-Eyed Crow.
What's up, everyone?
So before we jump into our topics today, guys, I just want to let everybody know that this podcast, our YouTube channel, as well as our Discord and competitive team, we're all sponsored by Immortal Workshop. And you could use the affiliate link down below in the description, or use code Caster Corner at checkout, and that will let Immortal Workshop know that you came from Caster's Corner. So guys, this week we have an exciting episode planned for you. We're just going to be jumping in and talking about the topic. It's kind of broad to start. We're going to be talking about aura this week. There's a lot of things that can be said about aura. Just to start though, I'm going to pass it off to Deadly. Deadly, you mind telling us what the 10 basic regular aura types are, not including like special or neutral?
Yeah. So you said there's 10. So let's go off. I'm gonna go off my memory here. So we'll do lightning, light, cosmic, dark, frost, water, earth, forest, and then flame. Is that it?
One more.
What's my favorite?
Oh.
What's my favorite?
Oh, your favorite? Spirit. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I got you.
So yeah, for those of you who are new to the game, don't play the game, or just getting into starting collecting MetaZoo, those are the 10 basic, aura types in the game MetaZoo. Now, Ian, do you know by chance what the aura advantages are in the game?
Yeah, because I have a handy dandy cheat sheet in front of me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't do that without that, like right off rip.
And
it's
be
a hard one.
Screen.
It's a hard one with MetaZoo because it's not like a circular pattern like you see with other ones.
And actually, before you even tell us that, do you want to explain again, just real briefly to anybody who's new, what the aura advantage might do in the game, and what it even is?
Of course, yeah. So aura advantage or type advantage is when your card or your opponent's card does extra damage based on the aura types of the card. So an example of that is if Caster MJ is playing water and I'm playing lightning, my lightning cards will do 20 extra damage to Caster MJ's water cards. And that works for both beasties and spells. So if I were to use a lightning spell against, say, Wall of Lake Crustacean, it would do 20 extra damage. I almost said Loveland Frogman. I'm like, nope, can't do that.
Technically, you can't do it to the crustacean either.
You can't.
Stone skin.
Oh no. That is true. It does no extra
Let's
damage.
just say water baby. It's the water baby.
Let's just say water baby.
You'll do 30 damage to water baby, and it only has 10 LP.
Wall of Lake Crustacean came to mind because I hate it so much. That one time I had to go up against it.
We've all had our problems with certain. Mine was magic proof. I was constantly like, spell dead. He's like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I played Bell Witch, somebody let me play Power Up Red on it, and then like 4 turns later, like, by the way, you actually can't do that, but I'm gonna let you have it.
Yeah.
How nice.
Magic proof.
Yeah.
So yes, aura advantage.
Yes. Sorry. Back on topic.
No, you're good.
So you kind of have two separate, I guess, groups of aura advantage. You have Cosmic, which has no disadvantage, nothing strong against Cosmic. But Cosmic itself is strong against Spirit. Spirit and Dark are strong against each other, so Spirit will do extra damage to Dark, Dark extra damage to Spirit. And the same between Light and Dark. So Light does extra damage to Dark, Dark does extra damage to Light. And then on the other side, this whole other, group of auras, you have Frost, which is strong against Water, Water, which is strong against earth and fire. Earth, which is strong against lightning. Lightning strong against water. Forest is strong against water. And then fire is strong against both frost and forest.
Yeah. So one thing that I've noticed about this and that I always like to point out is that to me all these advantages make sense. Going along with like the lore and like if we were following the story and everything like that, like how you were saying like water is strong against fire or flame, I should say. That just makes sense, you know, in real life.
Yeah.
You know, water puts out a fire. It makes sense that, you know, light would clash with dark and dark would clash with light. Things like that. Now, Deadly, being more of a player, what is your opinion on the aura advantage? Is it something that a player needs to like build their deck around, something that they need to be like paying attention to and like really be, or is it something that's just like in the back of your mind? Say anything you want on that.
So I wouldn't necessarily build your deck or your spell book around being like strong against one. The only one that necessarily does that is being Cosmic, because it really has no enemies, it has no weaknesses, which actually I can correct myself. I recently saw a couple cards that have a strength against a Cosmic Beastie on the attack. So if you go deeper into it, the card will have not so much anymore, but the card would have actually a aura symbol next to the attack, which is a secondary boost to the attack. So it's an aura type, and then even if it doesn't correspond with the aura type advantage, it would still give the aura type advantage on the attack. But with that being said, Cosmic's the only one where you can confidently say, okay, nothing's really going to be super strong. So to sum it up, I wouldn't necessarily base building off of aura advantage.
And, you know, the One-Eyed Crow, what is your opinion on that? You're a little bit newer of a player.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the aura advantage?
So I've yet to actually play any deck that has had aura advantage or had advantage against me. Right? So I haven't had official experience with this. But when I look at deck building, I do look at, you know, what do I expect to go against, and you know, aura advantage plays into that. And from the conversations that we've had, I'm thinking that maybe I need to rethink that, because water was strong in the meta for a long time with the Frogman deck, right? But water's also the aura that has 3 weaknesses.
Yeah.
So, you know, you'd think if it played a huge advantage, that wouldn't have happened, or it wouldn't have been as easy to happen. But that's also why we see the Kets deck, right? The Kets came to counteract Frogman, right?
Frog, yeah.
I think actually, let me just add one more thing. I think it's actually with Ian bringing up the fact that it was actually detrimental to using water. I think the reason for aura, you'd actually choose an aura type not to use based off of its weaknesses. If it has more weaknesses than others, right now I would say Earth and Spirit are kind of just weaker sets. But I would say people stay away from those auras because of the contents of the set. But also, there are also auras that I would stay away from because they have multiple weaknesses.
Yeah. So just to add on that, and then I'm actually going to move gears a little bit towards something else that you just touched on. When I first noticed that and was looking at like the aura graph in the rule book and everything like that, and I noticed Cosmic didn't have any weaknesses against it, I was like, why is this not winning every single tournament? You know, and it has to do kind of with that. It's not always about just that advantage. I found out. I did end up building my Caster's Cup deck around aura advantage in a way. I was afraid of the frog, and I built the lightning deck. You know, and I'd be lying if I said that did not play into it. You know what I mean? But my daily decks that I use, that I practice with, and everything like that, I'm not thinking about any aura specifically to go up against. I'm trying to build it so it could go up against every single aura, pretty much.
Right.
And a big thing to note with that too is like that's really where like my side deck comes in, and I'm starting to learn these things as I continue to play the game and everything. When I went into Caster's Cup, my side deck was only to counter the decks I was playing against my teammates. It wasn't. I was unprepared for some other things, and now I know like I need to be prepared for every aura type, not just the 3 that my buddies are playing. But Deadly, you did mention that people are not really playing Earth and Spirit that much. So I want to go into now, and I'm going to start with the One-Eyed Crow. What aura types do you believe are seeing the most play, actually, currently right now, since UFO has been out for a little over a month now, whatever it is? What do you feel has been seeing the meta? What in your opinion has been winning past tournaments? Things like that.
Yeah, I'm probably the least qualified to talk about this, but from my experience of what I've seen, and I started playing, for those that don't remember, I started playing with UFO at the release event. So I'm relatively new, a little over a month playing, and I've seen a lot of Cosmic since then. A lot of Grays, a lot of figuring out how that works, and kind of milling through those, which is my favorite thing to do since Cosmic. But there is a lot of variety out there that I've played as well. It just seems to be Cosmic seems to be the kind of popular one after UFO came out to try to figure out how the new cards work. The ones that I've had trouble with, and that I always come up when you talk about meta in the past, Fearsome Critters. That's the one that I still haven't quite figured out how to combat. I did actually just learn from you today, MJ, that Paralyze can take out a Gumbaroo because it'll remove the effect text. So, before I was thinking that fire was the main way to take it out, so it explodes, and I kind of picture that with Gumbaroo's head just.
Absolutely.
So I have a lot to learn about Fearsome Critters and how to kind of stop the very quick ramp up from that. And then I have played a Ket's deck. It wasn't too aggressive, so I was able to kind of roll through that. So from what I've heard about Ket's decks, I don't think I've played an official Ket's deck. And then I did play Loveland Frogman once, which is the other one that comes to mind for high-ranking meta decks. And yeah, Tormentic just steamrolled me with that one. So I thought I had my board clear with Supernatural Black Hole with him, and then he dampened it and ruined my night.
It was a very, very epic game. Let me tell you.
It was good.
It was like he was doing all the right moves, trying to swing back, and just in the end, he didn't get it.
So Deadly. In the current moment, what do you believe are like the top played metas? Seeing the most gameplay, winning the most games, that type of thing.
Cosmic. I think that the Grays is good. I think it's actually more, what's the right word for it? It's more of a fun mechanic rather than a super competitive. As of right now, I think it can get annoying. But every way that I've played it in my head with getting them out, setting my deck so that I can get them to come out all at once, I still bring out 35 LPs with no traits, and you have a turn where they're fatigued. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around them specifically. UFO, WinCon, I've seen that happening a lot, and that's a very good one. I think that one, I've been playing around with some things in my head with that, and I'm thinking of like trying to streamline it so that it happens and like I can just kind of get off on it, like I don't know, in like 5 turns potentially.
One thing I didn't realize about that until this past weekend when we were playing in Immortal Workshop's online invitational through his Discord is that WinCon, it doesn't have to be your BCs.
No.
So
just Cosmic.
I was playing a mirror match, and I was able to just land that, and pretty much vice versa the next match.
It seems weird though. It seems this seems strange. I want to read the card, but I mean, I could see it, but it just seems like odd to be able to sacrifice someone else's beastie. So you think it would have to be on your side.
It's just as destroy.
Well, I mean, it's a very good card.
They're alien invaders. They can do what they want.
So to answer the first question, well, not your first question, the question, it's cosmic. I'm seeing a lot, but to second that, I would say flame. I've seen a lot of that. The fireballs burn. A lot of people have been trying that, and I think that one also is a competitive one. It's just manipulating it.
So, the other two that are, I think, like honorable mentions that are still going to be seeing a lot of gameplay is we will see a lot of lightning. That's just not gonna die yet, especially now with that call of the storm or whatever that one is, where you could bring out the Quetz and the Thunderbird, or two Quetzes or two Thunderbirds or whatever it is, and
So
it's pretty beastly.
I think it might be Flame Fire, only because, and I'm just trying to play this through in my head real quick, is the fact that I looked at sorry, who was the guy who won? I think I asked this question in one of our other ones. Who's the guy who won Long Beach? Because they literally broke his spellbook down, and I saw it, and I saw every little thing in there, and I saw what things did and how he probably used it. The side deck I didn't see, but he said bunnies, but which is flame, basically he has Destroy Terra in there, which counters UFO. So I would actually go around and say, if someone's going to be trying to do Frost, then I wouldn't be trying to win con with UFO, maybe, because he would easily destroy it just by a beastie coming out. That whale looking thing, I don't remember what it was, but it's a good one. I saw it. I'm like, yo, how did I not see this, dude? I was like, you can have it to 90 LP for, I think, 4. It literally, and it could potentially swing for almost, I think, 80. I don't know. It's a good one.
But I wasn't gonna mention Frost though. I don't think Frost is it.
I think it was just well placed icy paths, well placed, like maybe like just some bounce, not bounce, but like well placed Wahila, stuff like that.
The other one I was gonna mention, and I think this is a sleeper that a lot of people are currently sleeping on, but a lot of people are also currently trying to mess around with. I think that's Dark.
I just lost the Dark this weekend, and it really that bothered me.
And now that like there's that new fan favorite, Houston Batman.
It's not my favorite.
People are starting to mess around.
I love
It's not your favorite, I love it, but a lot of people love that card, love the artward.
The first first card he built the deck around.
Yeah. Anytime I ever say I don't like something, it's mostly about utility, unless I specifically say I really don't like the art on this card, which I haven't said.
He's a beast. In my opinion, he's a beast in utility also, but that's just my opinion. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot of different Dark builds, and one thing I wanted to comment on too is that we see a lot of these gray decks. Like I built one myself. A number of teammates have built it and everything like that. And I've played against people who are not teammates who have that deck built as well. But there's a lot of cosmic cards out there, and there's a lot of us kind of playing the same decks in a way. And I bet you there's some guy just sitting in his basement coming up with some like Flatwoods Monster deck or something like that none of us have ever seen before, that could easily be this meta or something like that. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of stuff that we have not seen yet. And that's not only with like UFO just dropping recently and stuff. I think that we have not seen a lot of mechanics that could be done with cards that we've already had as well, like Wilderness, all the way down to just when Cryptid Nation. There's probably cards that we're still sleeping on that might be very, very useful, that we just like the artwork, or we don't want whatever it is, but I think there's a lot of things that like we have not cracked the code to yet, for lack of better terms.
I was
just gonna say.
I'm sorry.
We're good.
I'll just go ahead. I was gonna say real quick is that running trend is mainly meta, not to say meta, but like running trend, a good mechanic, well-made spellbook is one that has like low drops. A good, solid low drop choice out of an aura. Think about it. You got Nappa, Elementals, you got Flame, you got the Rabbits, and you got the Salamanders. You got Lightning, you had Ding Bells, now you have the Hornets, which took the cake at Caster Cup. Yep. That's what took it. Token, little baby ones. Then you got Omni Cooks. Those are OP. It's really the low-cost utility ones that are like, that's where you want to, like, I see a lot of people choosing those mechanics.
So, now let's get into Dual Aura. Wilderness released, the Prism Aura, which allowed us to splash in way more than we were allowed to previously. The Prism Aura is just an aura that allows us to fatigue and generate any aura type of those 10 basic aura types. So, where do we think Dual Aura is going? Do we see it becoming a new main thing? Do we think it's going to possibly take the meta by storm? I'm going to start with the One-Eyed Crow on this one as well.
Yeah,
I just want to hear his opinion before.
Good.
Well, no, I see. He likes to say that he's the least qualified. I like to see the different perspective as from someone who hasn't been playing the game as much in a way.
Yeah, whenever I played any kind of card game, I've always liked Dual Aura. The concept of let's figure out how these things mesh together, even though they're a little bit different. So even when I started with MetaZoo, my thoughts went to, what's going to work well together? What can play off each other? What I will say is that I'm very excited for Seance to have it kind of front and center. I think that the ability to do Dual Aura has been there. It's just not been there where it's strong enough to be competitive, from my understanding. It's fun. The most fun that I've had so far is a Spirit Fire deck that I built, and that was after UFO, so you had the green fireballs and one in there to try to get that in, and those are also spirits, so you have some cards that can play off of that. But they've been preparing for Dual Aura for a long time, ever since Nightfall. You had cards that could be fatigued for 2 different types of aura. That was continued up into what we have today with the essences. Then you had the Prism Aura, which gives you one of anything that you want. You had Chaos Crystal back in Cryptid Nation, which gives you 3 of anything you want, right? So they've always kind of had this way to do Dual Aura, but with Seance, we're actually getting to see our first Dual Aura cards. We actually got that drop today. When we're recording this anyway today, where we officially get to see those first cards from the blister packs that are Dual Aura. You have the one of them was Spirit Dark, if I recall, and then another one was Spirit Fire.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. It's really awesome. One thing I wanted to point out too that I probably knew but didn't really notice until this past week. So this past Friday, during our Learn to Play event, somebody just had a release event deck from Nightfall. They wanted to learn how to play the game, and I was playing my deck versus that release event deck. It was the Headless Annie deck. That Headless Annie deck is Dual Aura, which, looking back, I don't remember, but I've opened 2 or 3 of them, so I probably knew that. But I was just like I've never played one against one or with one. I just take the Headless Annie.
Yeah. You're like, I'll take this. That's all I need.
So yeah, he's throwing out Icy Paths and stuff, and I'm like, you told me this was like a Headless Annie deck. You know what I mean? So I think that is kind of cool. Like you were saying, they have been prepping for it since Nightfall. I knew that they had the artifact essences started in Nightfall, but I didn't realize that they were actually pushing for it to that degree really only until last week, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, in those as well, what you typically see is that you'll have your primary, so the Headless Annie deck, you said it's Frostfire, right? You have your fire, which is going to have your high cost beasties, and then everything else is generally low cost ice in that case, right? So, with the way that things have been set up, you have one that is a primary high cost, and then the other ones are 1-drops. I had the same thing in my release event deck with UFO. It was Frost Lightning rather, and it was primarily Frost, and then it was technically 2-drop Lightnings, but it was neutral and 1 Lightning cost to get it out. It was Speed Demon. So with the way that it's been done up until this point, you can only kind of do a main aura type and then 1-drops essentially. So I'm hoping that as we get new sets, maybe with Seance, whatever this possessed aura, special aura does, you get to a point where you can actually have some of the top beasties from both aura types in your deck.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Deadly, what are your thoughts?
Well, splitting aura has always been my dream. Ever since to be honest, ever since I started playing this game, and it all started with a Chaos Potion, which literally changes the aura type to the beastie, anyone you want. So I've been constantly, and then I'll just go on this because I've just kind of given up on this pipe dream here. But Napa Rebob's Sinister Shadows. Napa Rebob is a 1-drop. It's dark. Sinister Shadows is a spell. You put it on there. It makes copies of the 1-drop. Has to be dark. So my opinion, or not my opinion, but my idea was to Chaos Potion, take a 1-drop from any aura type, and then play Sinister Shadows on it that turn. It's very clunky, but that was my dream, and I really never got it off. So it never happened. I think I made one. I think I made one on TTS, and it was just like got me so angry that I just never played again. But
so where do you hope it goes though?
What was it?
Dual aura. Where are you hoping it goes with Seance? Now that we're seeing, like Ian mentioned, some of these spoilers.
I think it's.
And stuff.
I don't know where they're going with it. I think it's here. I think it's pretty apparent that Dual Aura is going to be in the next competitive. In my opinion. I mean, he had Dual in there, right? I mean, he had the side deck. I'm just going off of most recent tournament. He had side deck Fire. So. I think Dual is very, very strong right now. I think you just have to stay within the artifact essences if you're going to be splitting heavy.
Yeah. Even Easton at the Caster Cup, he was splashing Spirit into his deck. He had the unlucky potions and stuff like that.
He was. Yeah, I mean, he was. So Lightning, I can go on that as well. So you got the Chaos Crystal CN. But Lightning, I think Lightning, and correct me if you guys either know any cards, but I think Lightning was the only card that actually produced an aura of a different aura type in the set, which was Shock Aura. Pay 50, have it come out Awaken, you could fatigue it for any aura type. And I remember Moldy Potions pointed that out on his Instagram, and I remember being like, holy crap, we can split aura, dual aura, and CN, like Nightfall was out, and like, I was like, this is going to go crazy, but it took more to get there. That was never enough for me. You could cross your fingers and hope that you got it at the right time.
So that's something cool though. Again, that might be worth mentioning since we're on aura, is that all this aura types, they kind of go again with like the lore and everything like that. So like lightning produces energy. You know what I mean? We use electricity. You know, it's all electric. The lightning aura type produces more energy. It does. They have ball lightning. You have that shock aura. You have that. I always forget the name of the one. Deadly. What's that one? That artifact that
ball
will bring it in awakened.
What?
Power cell. Power cell.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. So it's almost like it's charging it up with energy to like bring out your beasties in a way. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of cool. Like it, literally, like the game kind of like takes like this form for like us to like get trapped in this world in a way, and I like that. Like when I'm playing my electric deck, like I feel like the synergy and the flow of it and stuff. So I think that's kind of cool, and I think that's kind of cool how we could see that play into the future with the dual aura and like how that works in like the story. that will work in the gameplay and how all these beasties will play off of each other and stuff like that. I think it's real exciting stuff, honestly, to see where it's going to all go. Deadly, are you going to be playing Dual Aura? That's my question to you.
Yeah, 100%, hands down. Anything that I build competitively will have dual. Whether it's tidal pull for water just to draw and sift through. There's too much options, and they have the prism auras, and I own 2 of them, so I'm gonna use them, and they were expensive, so they're gonna get used.
Yeah. I every time I try splashing in other colors, it really has not worked for me personally in the decks that I have built. So I'm real excited for more support around it, because it's also what I am aiming to do and what I'm dreaming to do. I've had 300 different deck ideas, with some of them up to 3 or 4 different aura types. Now that's going a little overboard, I think. But if I could just make I just want to build an even split deck. That's what I keep trying to do. I don't try
Even
to just
split
splash
is
like 1 or
hard.
2 cards.
Even split is
Yes.
very hard. You're the beastie, so the level, like the aura cost on a beastie, I don't take it past 2. Usually it's 2
So-
at most on a duel if I'm dropping. That's all I feel comfortable with all the aura out.
The way I've been trying to build my decks, and those on my team who practice with me know this, I always try to do something kind of similar, but it ends up where I need like the same amount of aura. But it's kind of similar to what Ian was saying was happening with the release event decks, where I'll pick, like, let's just say for the sake of this, Spirit, and only my big beasties will be Spirit.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick Flame, and only my small beasties will be Flame. And I might have some spells or potions and stuff like that mixed in, or artifacts from both, potentially. But for some reason, it always turns out being like split in a way. Though just the aura I need, maybe like it's maybe like a 1 or 2 difference at most. You know what I mean? Or it might be like 5 and 3 or something like that. It's still not that big of a difference. But most of the time, it's pretty split, and it doesn't work for me. So now that they're going to be making actual like beasties and cards and stuff like that have the dual aura, I feel like my dream is gonna happen sooner than later.
So
Go ahead.
I was actually gonna. It's funny. Now that you're talking about this, so there's a construct that I kind of base off of, and I bring this from Magic, from like drafting. There's a certain amount of cards that I want to have as like low drops. There's a certain amount of cards I want to have as medium drops. I want to make sure there's utility in certain ones. But when I'm talking about the duel, I like to drop in spells. Maybe a beastie or 2, but really spells are a lot of the time. So I keep going in my head. I keep thinking about the flame.
So you're saying spells over like more beasties, or spells over big beasties, or what specifically do you mean by that? For someone like me who does not have Magic knowledge.
So the idea is you have 40 cards, give or take. The pull rate and the aura. So if you're going to be dropping, you don't want to be cut off of your main attack. Main thing is beasties, is putting them out. I'm basing it off of like one specific way of building a deck. You have beasties and you're going for attack or defense. You don't want to cut yourself off by having like a mixture. And then if you start grabbing these large beasties in the beginning, and because you shuffle the deck and everything, you don't know, you may be more likely to pick out things that you can't play when you have big beasties with the aura cost and the small ones. So it's uneven. You know what I mean? If you have a lot of the one and you have the small ones, you can't play them, and then you vice versa. Then you have too many of the others, and so it becomes unbalanced. So I like to do mainly the aura type. Drop in, how heavy I drop in depends on how many spells and if there is a beastie in there. And I always have another way of playing the beastie usually. I'll have, like, think about CN, like people will throw in the CN promo, spellbook promo. And then also, I've been looking at Dragon Rise. I was going to do Dragon of Akanto, Piazza. Like, Piazza actually doesn't work because he's a 3 cost. So, any 4 costs that it was a different aura type, and just mix it all together, and then I have a way to play it. But I gotta have a way to play it.
Some Cumberland Dragons. All of them.
Yep.
So now, I'll start with you this time, Deadly. We'll switch it up this time. What do you think are... You mentioned 2 of them already, but what do you think has not been seeing enough play in the meta thus far?
And you know what to say?
We can even segue. I'm gonna have a part B to that question as well.
Okay.
What do you hope gets improved with Seance?
Same answer. It's not gonna happen. So, well, no, technically, so I really do. No, I know. I really do like light. I really do like light. I didn't
That wasn't the
see what. No, well, you said what's not seeing enough play. Light.
All right.
I answered your question.
There you go.
What would I like to see improved?
I was like,
Light. It's so. I mean, to be honest, my first answer is light because I saw some good stuff. I think Wilderness, the Akanto Dragons were a great addition. Great. But then this one, like, where did we go? Love Block Lights.
Yeah.
Like, what are those? What are those? You gotta, like, basically everything of light I have to own, like, multiples of them to, like, get some kind of, like, effectiveness. And then you got the Templars. Those are cool, but I just don't like how they lose invisible, and then their defender is like 60.
Have you checked out the what is it? The release event deck that was light for UFO? It's like
it's the UFO. I was reading it last night. It seems pretty good, but
I kind of like them, honestly.
it's pretty good. I mean, it's a 5-drop. I think it's 70 LP, something weird, because light always has weird damage and weird LP. Last night I was doing 105 damage every turn. Sick. But then you like move it around and burn the beasties, I guess, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't. I don't think they're super strong, and I looked at them and I'm just like, I'm not thrilled about throwing them in my spell book. So
you think light is seeing the least play?
No. Well, the least. I mean, you could fall. That kind of falls on a baseline. I think Spirit's pretty like non-existent. I think light, but I actually don't even see like light spells coming out. Like who's playing a light, dropping in a light spell? I see people dropping in Morpheus. I see people dropping in Spirit a little bit until they're fire. But I don't see anybody dropping any light. The only light I see is the light in my face right now. No, but for real. And then the second question, I'll keep it short. I think Spirit. I'd like to see Spirit, which is 100% coming in Seance.
That's happening. Yeah, that's happening.
I would love to see Spirit. I keep looking at it and I was like, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. There needs to be more.
Yeah.
So it's coming.
The One-Eyed Crow. Same question. Or questions.
Yep. The ones that I've seen played less from my experience are Light and Earth, which is funny because it's 2 that Deadly has played, and I know you have started looking at Earth now as well, I believe. MJ.
Yes.
But I have not played you yet for that. I'm sorry. And those seems to be ones that when I look at the cards, they're ones that I feel like are hard to build decks around. Like there's not enough there yet, and maybe I'm wrong with Light because obviously you got to top 32 with Caster's Cup on Light, but Earth especially I haven't really seen too much, and maybe that's changed with UFO now because I hate your Burrow deck. But those are 2 that I see less from the experience of what I've seen played, online in our experience testing together. In terms of what I could see improved, I'd like to see Earth improve, to be honest, and we probably won't see that until Native, because what I see the problem with Earth being is that there's not a lot of small drops, and it kind of goes to what you were saying, Deadly, is you want to have a lot. You want to be heavier on the 1 or 2 drops, right? You want to be able to get beasties out. You want to
have something
right.
there that's going to hold the wall.
Hold the line.
Hold the line. That's what I was looking for.
And that is the thing with Earth too. Is there's high LP. There's a lot of defenders, right? So you get them down and you start holding your ground a bit, but you have to get something on the field. So yeah, I'd like to see Earth improved, and it definitely seems like Dark is gonna get improved. You guys see All Hallows Eve? I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
Not that Dark needed it, but
so me personally, those of you who know me, I'm like into horror films, like all creepy, spooky stuff and everything like that. So I'm real excited for Seance and all the dark cards and the spirit cards and everything like that, and I'm hoping it's as dark and creepy of artwork as they're saying it's going to be. I'm hoping they took Nightfall and kind of bumped it up a little bit, basically. And I'll be real excited for that with their new vivid hollow foils and stuff like that. I see it being a huge success personally. But with Seance, I think it's a consensus that we all want Spirit to be improved, and we all kind of know it will be with Seance coming out.
yeah, definitely.
But I would like Earth to be improved as well, and Ian, I agree 100% with what you were saying. That I think it has to do with the low cost species. I don't think there's a single one drop. I could be wrong.
No, there is. Tenihan.
There is.
I made
the only one.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's him, and then you got the Dingo that came out, which he's like decent, but like he has a mechanic that hasn't been.
But that's a 2-drop.
Is he a 2-drop? The Dingo? Oh, wow, interesting. But still, so Tenihan is the 1-drop, and like he's amazing. Like he's great. He really is. You'd be surprised.
But he doesn't have the utility yet.
He doesn't have enough giants around him. I made one specifically with Matlocks and Tenihan, and it like I was beating you, but like I think you switched up a deck and then just destroyed me. Like there was water or something, and I just couldn't handle it.
That's when I
UFO added one giant.
What's
UFO?
that?
UFO added one giant, right?
One giant? Is
Forgot the name of it.
Janaskwa, is he even a giant?
Oh, it's not even the one I was thinking. No, it's the one that looks like Sandshrew but with fur.
There is a giant, and he's poopy.
No,
he's not that good.
The one that you said deadly, I believe, is a Sasquatch.
Okay, I could see that. But that's actually a really good card. That card is actually really, really good, and I was trying to use the mechanic to burrow, bring him out, and then like fatigue him and kill the Dingo, and then be able to kill something on your side. It was actually really good.
Yeah. The other one I want to see improved too is I know that it just won a tournament, but I think Frost needs a little bit of help. I personally don't know what the issue is. I've built a number of Frost decks, honestly, and never got around to play testing any of them.
It's slow.
I think I've built a Frost deck for every set that's came out so far, and again, like I just haven't played them. Even for one of the Immortal tournaments, I was going to use one, and like last minute, I played something else, and I got third place with the one that I switched up with. So,
I thought Frost did get a bit of a bump with Pamola.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I thought Frost did get a bit of a bump with Pamola.
It definitely did get a bump this set. UFO definitely helped it out for sure. I will say that 100%. But I think Deadly said the right word. I think it's just too slow. I don't know exactly.
It's the
there's
counter.
a reason why I always don't play it. There's a reason. I build it and I'm like, this I don't know. I don't think this is it. I literally like I'll shuffle it. I'll do a few draws and see what I get in my hand and play and test with myself before practicing with you guys or whatever it is. And I'll draw the cards and I'll be like, how would I play this? And I'm like, this is not that good.
It's a react. It's a react. You have to
I don't even know what to do with all these in my hand right now. Or I don't have enough aura to do it. Or I don't know, everything it just never worked out exactly how I would. Whereas opposed to if I played my Quetz deck or something like that, or my Graze deck or something like that, it's just you draw 7, you're like, oh, this could work. Or you mulligan and by that you're like, oh, yep, this is great, But with the Frost, I was always just like, I just really don't know. I don't see this working right now,
Yeah, I agree. I get into these really deep holes when I think about MetaZoo and the cards, and I was looking at, just for example, when we're talking about Frost, the Snowman. So there's two. I think there's two different snowmans in the set. I think there's one in. There's
So
one in
of
the.
them's a holiday one.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of them's a promo
That-
one, and then the other one is actually in the set of I think.
That's the friendly snowman.
Yeah, wilderness. I think it's in
Yeah, it's
wilderness.
in wilderness.
So
And he lets you do double the
frost. Double the frozen.
Or a +1 frost, I should say. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
+1.
it adds one to whatever is added or whatever is given to the target.
Mhm.
So I don't know. The frost.
I mean, I've played some good frost decks. I'm not gonna lie. I've been beaten by frost. One of our teammates has beaten me with frost decks, even. But I think it's situational. I don't think it's like consistent.
It's like I was saying, it's reactive. It's reactive. I am waiting for you to do things. Icy Path doesn't work unless you attack. It's super strong, but and then also you're getting spells back. You're freezing the beasties. You're slowing it down.
Now, I have a random question for both of you, and I'm going to start. I want the one-eyed crow to answer this one first. Now, the UFO set released for the first time ever, and I've been asking for this for a while now, and it answered it in a weird way. I've been wanting a one-drop neutral beastie, and we got a one-drop neutral beastie in UFO, which is the headless chicken, Mike the headless chicken.
Yes.
Now, do you think in future sets there's going to be like the option to build a neutral deck? Or do you think like that's just meant to splash into... Could neutral be the other cosmic where there's no aura advantage type of thing? That's kind of my question. Do you think it's a possibility where somebody could have just like a neutral deck?
It's interesting.
What about
So
spells?
it's something. It's something that I thought of before. Actually, was building a neutral deck. Obviously there isn't a lot of options there, but you could do it today, right? You could have enough to
Technically,
actually,
yeah.
with the 10
I'm sure you
mics
could.
and I don't know how far you're gonna get, but
Do you think they'll keep releasing more neutral beasties that might make the potential to build a neutral deck?
competitively, probably not. It's an
Do you
interesting.
think the neutral is meant more just to splash and always will be?
I think it's going to be that way for a while. And the interesting thing here is if you can build a somewhat competitive neutral deck, you could then have your higher cost spells or beasties be of a certain type, or maybe two types if you want to just kind of go two different ways with your aura. So you could
That'd be a lot
do
of fun.
primarily neutral and then kind of have some heavy hitters from specific auras, and that's really what I think you would do with Mike's. The downside to Mike the Headless Chicken is that it kills itself after it attacks 3 times.
Yeah,
I thought I had a way around that, but the MZO said no.
As they normally do. They shut our dreams down all the time.
I just wanted to attach a ray gun to it and shoot things, okay? I think it's possible. I just don't think we're going to see it probably until Yokai releases. You need to kind of build up those neutral beasties that are going to be able to do something.
Yeah. I agree
Dudley,
with that.
what's your thoughts on that? Yeah.
What on neutral?
Yeah.
It's not. I would not say that. But I will say that the only way that you make it viable right now is neutral everything except for the big beasties. But you're picking an aura because you don't have enough neutral aura to play all the aura in an actual deck. So you can only do 2 prisms, which do everything. Then you can have 2 neutrality, totality, or I keep calling them tokens. I keep wanting to say neutrality, totality, token.
It's an aura.
But it's an aura.
It's an aura.
What?
I said, yeah, it's an aura.
Yeah, so you can have 2 of those, which equals 4, so that's 6. You still need it. And then if you were to be like, oh, I'm gonna do Chaos Crystal, you're still getting, you're still fatiguing it and creating. You can be like, oh, 3 neutral, but why would you even care? Because neutral is everything,
Neutral. Yeah.
unless it
Except for
specifically says
neutrality.
neutral.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was interesting because there is like some. Well, we got what's that? Wampus cat, Snallygaster, things like that. So like, there's already some big neutral species, and there have been for a while. And I've always been asking for the small ones. Yeah, Big Bird. And I've always been asking for those small ones, and we finally got them. And like I said, it just wasn't the ones that I personally wanted.
But it's a weird. I should just put it together because I don't even know how it would run. Like a headless chicken deck, I don't even know how I would run that because it's gone in 3 turns and it hits for 5, and you like, it swings before you can. I don't know.
Like the one I was saying though, you're probably, if you're building that chicken deck though, you're probably still not building just a neutral deck.
No,
you're probably still throwing it into something else.
I'll throw neutral, I'll throw Quets, and then I'll throw Call the Storm, and I'll just start throwing Quets out with headless chickens running around.
But if something gets released that can take off the counters, yeah, it'll be viable. But you're throwing something out that dies in 3 attacks. So that's what I'm waiting for. Is okay. How do I remove these counters? And then you throw down your mic, you throw down your power up red. And then you have a chicken that's hitting for 110.
Yeah, but then now I know what he's got to do. He's got to create a actual chicken head card. And if you attach this chicken head card to the headless chicken, it stays out on the battlefield for 3 more turns. You can get 3 more counters on it.
That's great.
I don't know.
So I guess the last thing I kind of want to ask you guys about Aura, unless there's anything after that you guys want to talk about, is this could be completely unrelated to gameplay. This is open to interpretation, but Deadly, what is your favorite Aura type? And give a reason behind that too.
I know I keep saying light and everything, but let's just say the more you play an Aura type, the less you are fond of it. Like, I don't know. I want to play something else, which is what I'm saying. So the Aura type that I really want to just kind of play, I guess, an experiment with. Probably Spirit. I like it. I like the cards in there. I feel like it's untapped and I haven't been able to dig in it. I mean, I really like the Familiar. I could make a cat deck, but not in any specific reasons for liking Wampus Cat and then I would actually need the Green Goblin dude, right? Because he's riding a cat and then it says next beastie cat or something.
Yeah.
But
he's got that hairless Sphinx.
Yeah, and then the Spirit, the Familiar, you can fatigue it for basically a dark, a spirit, or a neutral for your next spell, which is super, super cool.
Yeah, Spirit's my favorite too. Doesn't have to do with the card play, the meta behind it or anything like that. Although I believe that is following very soon. Yeah, I guess that's actually a lie too, because I do like I have a mill deck for Spirit where it makes my opponent mill their deck. It's just not competitive yet, but I have a lot of fun playing it. But I just, like I said earlier in the episode, I just like the creepiness, the spookiness. I was one of these kids who, I grew up watching horror films, Freddy and Jason and, all these people. And I just love Halloween. I love the spookiness and the creepiness and being a little outcasty, and a little kind of hidden. Like, you can't bring that stuff to church. You can't bring that to my grandma. So I like that about it. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, for me as a kid, it was a little like rebellious in a way. My mom wouldn't watch a horror movie with me. You know what I mean? So it made me feel kind of like a little different, and I kind of like that. I don't know, and it's always stuck around with me since then. So for me, Spirit, but for me it has to do with just the creepiness, spookiness, ghosts, things like that. And my favorite color is purple, and a lot of the stuff in the Spirit stuff is purple too. So,
yeah, and he likes trains, and he likes.
I do. Dude, the Ghost Train is my favorite card from Cryptid Nation. Yeah.
I know.
So the one I grow, what is your favorite Aura type?
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
I feel like I I feel like I have to go with Dark. Not even for Mothman, which is the mascot. Wendigo has something to do with that, definitely. Wendigo is one of the first cryptids I can really kind of remember learning about, and then seeing that pop up again in different forms of media. Second episode of Supernatural, you had Until Dawn. I don't know if you ever played Until Dawn. The Wendigos were the big bad there. So even kind of growing up and getting interested in different things, the Wendigo always kind of popped up. So that was one of the first cards, and I got in around Nightfall. It's one of the first cards I attached myself to. But I just like playing it, especially Houston Batman, which you mentioned at the beginning of the show. The ability that when fear is enacted, the beastie can take 30 damage and stay in the arena, rather than being sent back to their hands. So you have a way to, whether or not fear works, damage beasties on the field by activating the effect. So it just adds another layer of, okay, how can I strategically use my fear beasties? So that's what my dark deck is built around, is this Houston Batman, Wendigo, CN, Promo, Mothman, etc. And their abilities to kind of get this damage with fear and get things reactivated and whatnot. So yeah, for me it's Dark.
Awesome. Yeah, all I want to say on that is that Wendigo was the first beastie that I ever seen in MetaZoo, because it was on the booster box of Nightfall that my LGS had, and that's the first thing I ever seen was that booster box. And to this day, I think he's one of the most badass beasties.
Yeah.
Looking wise, artwork wise, everything like that. I think everything about it was pretty awesome.
The only sad thing is how the hollow didn't really show through with
not
the
too
black
hollow,
background. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think the new art, the new companies with that dark art though, it pops just nice. So
it's still not
better.
quite there. It's better. It's definitely better. But Men in
yeah.
Black, it has it's very similar. Yeah, you can tell it's hollow now, but it still doesn't pop as much as the other ones. So.
I don't have a Men in Black yet, so I don't know.
There's my flex for the day.
Hollow ones. Yeah, I got a bunch of non-hollow ones. Thanks
And I
for
gave
rubbing
you
it
half
in.
of them.
Yeah. But any last thoughts on Aura? Anything that either one of you want to say? Deadly, starting with you, that has to do with this episode topic. Anything relating to Aura?
I'm just excited to see where they all take it in Seance. Ian brought up the aura, the extra aura. What was it called? The dark aura?
The Possessed Aura?
Oh, man.
It's a special aura.
The new special one.
Yeah,
the new
Possessed Aura.
special one.
What'd you say?
What was that?
Possessed Aura?
Possessed aura. there.
Possessed Aura.
Yeah.
I want to know what that does. I want to know. I'm super excited about that. The more options, the more options for aura, the more options I can kind of mix around with the cards. So that's just excited for that stuff.
Awesome. The One Night Grow, any last thoughts on the topic?
Yeah, actually, it kind of builds off of that. And so I've had this conversation multiple times with different people in my YouTube comments. I had it in the Discord today even. Do you guys remember, off the top of your heads, what Destroy Aura does?
Destroy aura. It destroys
Destroy
a aura, and it has to be a special aura if you have one out.
If yeah.
Perfect. So I think a lot of people, because that came out in Nightfall, before special auras existed, forget about that special aura piece. Do you play that at all? First of all, I guess that's my first question.
I was trying to. I drop it in I like to mess around with aura destroy deck with the infinite power and everything, and I realized that one. But yes, I did try and run it, but majorly no.
Okay, and then I guess my follow-on question from that: you guys have been around a lot longer than I have. Do you foresee that being a lot more prevalent as we get things like the Possessed Aura and more special auras with each set?
So, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be something we're going to be seeing in every single side deck or majority of them. Majority of them, we might see Destroy Terra, I feel like. If you have Destroy Terra in a deck, your Quetz isn't too scary. things like that. He's still a good beastie, but he's hitting for 50 less, you know. So I think you're going to see a lot more destroyed Terras, but I for sure, as special aura comes out more with each set, which it seems like they're going to be doing at least one for each set at the rate they've been going, I could see people side decking it for sure. I don't think it's going to be a main deck. I could see people side decking it. I don't think it's going to be something we're going to be seeing even 50% of the time, but I'm sure we will see it.
You have to take into account what the card does and what the cost of the card is. It's a 4 cost, and it literally I think it destroys do we each destroy one? You have to destroy one, I destroy one. So guess what? That kind of sucks for 4. Yeah. So guess what? So Infinite Power is a direct counter to special. So what it does upon contract is it destroys a special Terra in the arena. Just one. And you can choose your opponents. And it's 3 cost. Artifact stays out, has 100 LP, and it fatigues for 1 aura. So destroy aura is not a thing in my head anymore. Other than it takes 1 extra turn unless you like Magic Engineer Oil or something. But it's 100 LP, so it's kind of hard to get back or try to get it down. Well, technically no, because contract it destroys. The other ability, when you fatigue it, it actually will turn everything special. And then you can like play another one or whatever. So I personally think Infinite Power is a replacement for Destroy Aura because it destroys a aura. And the idea is if auras do become more prevalent, like the special ones, that's what people are going to use to counter it, not Destroy Aura. Okay. That's like more like direct, like I want to destroy your drop. And it was probably more useful when they didn't have all these artifact essences and things like that, because those are the things I'm actually more scared of right now. Artifact essences, I get rid of those real quick because that's your drop, that's your extra aura.
Yeah, I like I said, I think we'll see it, but I don't think it's going to be the top, like anything like that. Like, well, I think we'll see a lot more, like even probably Infinite Power. We'll probably see a lot more of those, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I have thought about throwing it in side decks before, but I don't ever consider main decking it. Yeah, not ever. Pretty much.
And this is the stuff that I don't know when I build decks. Is okay, we have these cards from like Nightfall before, and what is actually still useful and what's been replaced. So
a lot are still useful, and a lot of people, like you said, I think are not paying attention to that. But that just happens to be one that I don't think is it, at least right now, or anyway. So, anything else, Ian?
Nope. That's my only thought.
So, my last thought on Aura is I just want to encourage people to, not net deck and go out and experiment, Yeah, it's great to build that Frost deck that won the Long Beach tournament. It's great to build, the closest version you can to Easton's Lightning deck and everything, but we've all seen those already. People already know how to counter all those already, and I would just like to see something new. I try to experiment with new things, and like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I think that there's a lot of things that we haven't cracked the code to yet.
Agreed.
And that could even be dual aura, like we were talking about for a while, for all we know, But if we just keep playing the same decks over and over again, in my opinion, like the game's not going to develop and grow at the rate that it probably could and should. So the more we experiment as a community, the more the game will grow. But the more we just play the same decks over and over again, like it's almost like just buy a chessboard. You can play the same game over and over again. So I'm out there every week, splashing in new things and building awful decks. Honestly, a lot of the times but at the same time, like I'm experimenting and having a lot of fun and having a lot of good conversations with a lot of good people. And to me, that's what this is all about. It's not about just like win. MetaZoo is a huge community-driven game, and sometimes it's fun for the rest of you guys, for example, to like call me an idiot or whatever in our team chat, being like, Matt, what is wrong with you coming up with this dumb deck? You know what I mean? And then we go back and forth or whatever. You know, it's a lot of fun to do while I'm at work, and I would normally be bored otherwise. You know? So I like building these decks. I like having conversations with people, and, you know, and me experimenting has opened the doors to a lot more friendships, honestly. And a lot of people in other groups as well. So now with that, Deadly, any closing thoughts on, you know, not related to, you know, Aura, but just any closing thoughts on the episode?
I would say that experiment with all different types of Aura. I do that all the time. I just sit there on the internet, on a website, MetaZoo HQ, and then I just look at all the cards and I play with them in my head, and I just think, okay, well, this would go good with this and this would go good with that. And I love just sitting there playing around with it. I sit there for hours. I would say do that. Learn the cards and figure out what aura type you like playing the best, because some people, like MJ said, he can't really figure out how he wants to maneuver around Frost. So it keeps him from playing it more. So I'm kind of the same with Spirit. Like, I really want to jump in, but the more I look at it, I'm like, I feel weakness, and I don't like feeling weakness when I build a deck. So I always scratch things that I start feeling really overly weak. So
Yeah.
I would say every aura type has its fun ability and has mechanics. Then mix them up. See what's up.
Awesome. And the One-Eyed Crow, anything you want to say to close out the episode? Plug your YouTube channel, anything like that?
Yeah, just to kind of build off of Deadly there as well is, you know, do that, because that's amazing. You know, we're not going to find new meta, new things that are going to be super powerful unless people are playing around, and that could be you that figures that out. But the other key important thing there is find people to play with, and you can do that in the Caster's Corner Discord. Plug. Always people willing to play in there. And Matt, or MJ, runs a learn and play every Friday night with Caster's Corner. So if you just want to come and test something out, you have an outlet for that as well. Yep. And then I should probably plug myself. Watch Cryptid Nation News. Stay up to date with everything going on with MetaZoo.
If you can beat Matt, MJ, then you can play me. That's sort of conceited. I'm just kidding. I'll play it wherever. It doesn't matter.
I am the easiest one to beat, though.
Dude, you have gotten so much better in the last just 3 months, 4 months.
I just like to build some weird things and have some fun.
He needs to see it play out. He needs to see it play out and see the mistakes and the changes he wants to make. I've seen it happen. Me, I'm making them in the moment, and I'm trying to make everything together. That's why it takes me an extra 3 months to make a spell book.
But with that, guys, we are going to end the episode. I'm just going to elaborate on, what the One-Eyed Crow was saying, that every Friday, Caster's Corner in our Discord, we do have a Learn to Play event. Now, there's 2 ways you could go about this. One is if you want to play in the event and you want to actually participate and you can learn how to play the cards or learn the fundamentals of the game and everything, you could sign up on the Play Network. And I will leave a link to the Play Network down below. You could just see that there's a Caster's Corner Learn to Play event every single Friday, and that's at 9 p.m. Eastern. One thing to note about that too is that it is via webcam on the Discord server. It's not through TTS. However, you can use proxy cards. You don't need to own the actual cards. We just want you to learn the game. So then the other way you could go about it is if you just want to view and you just want to watch. You do not need to sign up on the Play Network. You could just meet us in the Caster's Corner Discord in our Gameplay 1 channel at that 9 p.m. start time. And you could feel free to just observe. You could pause us. You could ask us questions, whatever it is. We just want you guys to learn the game. Now, besides that, also like Ian said,
watch Cryptid Nation News on on YouTube
Do
for
it.
all your MetaZoo news.
I think I think one
And-
came out. You should go check it out.
Yeah, he just released today, the day we're filming this, his MetaZoo Hour video for yesterday, right? The MetaZoo Hour
Yep.
was only yesterday. You got that out quick, man.
Already got it out.
So yeah, definitely be sure to check that out. And the last two things is that I'll also have a link down below for just our Discord in general. Just feel free to join that. We do have a section in our Discord for the podcast where you can make suggestions or ask any of us questions, and we'll be happy to answer any of those for you. And the last thing is that once again, I just want to let everybody know that we are all sponsored by Immortal Workshop, and you will be able to find his link down below in the description as well. And with that, guys, we really appreciate all of you for watching, and we hope you have a great week. And we'll catch you next time. Have a good one,
See ya.
guys.
Thanks for watching.